We're back at base camp.
Familiar territory.
And it's been a few days. We just wanted to give you a recap on what the last few days have been like and what we're doing right now and what the future holds. We got Sam back reunited with her beautiful dog Thina. We have a report that Raptor has made it home safely. So we're all where we're supposed to be right now.
Rental car, pickup in Boiling Springs, it all worked out just the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. And Expedition Director M picked us up in Boiling Springs and brought us on back to base camp. So we want to talk a little bit about that final day on Katahdin because, obviously it wasn't really what we had always hoped for.
It was spectacular in its own way, but it was grueling and hard, and there were no views except that little peekaboo that came out just for a few minutes. That's not the way we would do it if we were given a choice.
And we just want to emphasize, he's being very generous about this, but we want to emphasize that the decisions made by the ranger at Baxter State Park put the four of us in danger. We were all hypothermic at some point along our descent. And all of that could have been avoided if that person had had a little more creativity, latitude, flexibility. I don't know what the term would be, but just to note that that probably having us walk down after 5 p.m. on a sunny day would have been safer than having us climb down on wet rocks when the wind chill was in the 40s. And I'm still a little bit angry about that. I think it was unnecessary, and I think this is why Baxter has such a problem with thru-hikers. We were tempted, obviously, to just go ahead and ignore what the ranger said and climb on up the mountain, but then we realized that we would be those people, those thru-hikers that broke the rules, and we didn't want to do that. We didn't want that on us. So instead, we had a very miserable day.
So he lacked more than just bedside manner. He was unclear in his direction except to say no. And he knew there were options. He knew there were possibilities that existed for us to either summit on the day that had good weather or summit on a day that had better weather. And he was unclear in how he communicated those. So we made the decision to climb the mountain. It was our choice because we didn't believe we had any other options. That the options were narrow and quite limited. When in point of fact, there were some serious options out there that thru-hikers should know about and incorporate into their planning.
We want to describe this very, very clearly for future thru-hikers. In Millinocket, the Appalachian Trail Lodge, which is a haven, is run by Old Man and Navigator. They have a shuttle service that collects hikers from Katahdin, from Katahdin Stream Campground, and delivers hikers back to Katahdin Stream Campground. What we didn't know at the time, and we didn't know until we met Navigator, is that their access is very special, and they can get a thru-hiker back to the trail as for day use. They don't wait in line. They have special access to get in and out of the park and to help hikers. What we would have done in a perfect scenario is when the weather started looking bad, and again, we didn't know until we didn't have cell service for like 2 or 3 days. So we were going on old forecasts, hoping that the day was going to be nice. Got there the day before, and found out the weather was getting bad really fast. You don't have a lot of options since you don't have cell service, but in an ideal world, we would have caught a shuttle back to Millinocket and then watch the weather and then have the good folks there shuttle us back on a beautiful day as day hikers, summit, and come back down. And we only mention this because there are other people who are going to want to do this. That's the way to do it. That's the secret. And Navigator and Old Man, we just love what you offered us at the end of the trail. We're so grateful to you and so many others for the care we got. It's funny that you guys are related to the folks at Shaw's. Shaw's gave us what we needed, and we were so grateful to them. Not a restful night, you know, that's because we're old and crabby, but what we got in Millinocket certainly made up for it. We had a very restful time in Millinocket. We want to thank you once again. But we also need to emphasize that for hikers, that this is the way to go. Get yourself to Millinocket. If the weather's bad, get yourself to Millinocket and work with Old Man and Navigator to get your summit on a beautiful day.
So put all that aside for a minute and describe what it felt like to summit.
Again, it wasn't my dream summit because we were battling the elements the whole way, and it was confusing, and it was rushed. We couldn't really be in the moment and appreciate what we had done. We were fighting between ourselves because he kept yelling, we have to get off the mountain, we have to get off the mountain. So that moment was disappointing. Though the rain meant that our equipment was crashing. My iPhone stopped working. So we weren't even catching the moment. What do you think the moment was like?
So I think I had conflicting feelings at that moment. It was exhilarating because we were on top of the mountain. We were at the finish line. We were touching the sign at Katahdin. I mean, that was special. And there's no taking that away. But it was a grueling climb. It was cold. It was extremely cold. And at that moment, the weather actually turned worse. And so we went from wind and rain to sleet and wind and rain. And our equipment was just not up to the task. We needed to get off that mountain to be safe, and we needed to get off in a safe way. And to be fair to all four of us, we took our time, we were careful, we layered up, we put calories on board. I mean, we did all the things we could, but there was no escaping the cold. The wind just cut right through all our gear.
Would you have put your coat on if I hadn't told you to put your coat on?
I don't think so.
Yeah. We actually had a survival situation on the way down, and we were both borderline hypothermic, teeth chattering, uncontrollable shivering, you know, classic symptoms. I went ahead and put on my puffy underneath my raincoat. We both have a synthetic puffy exactly for this situation. So I put on my puffy. He was still saying he was fine. He wanted to save his puffy for later. I'm like, this is why it's synthetic. Finally, we climbed down another 5 minutes or so, and I was watching him, and I just stopped, and I looked at him, and I said, this is a direct verbal order.
And if you watch the video of us coming down Katahdin, there's a moment in the video, and I don't even remember what the question is, but you asked me a question, and you can hear in my voice how cold I am. And that was just moments before she said, you need to put that coat on.
Made
and
a
she was
difference,
right.
though, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And that extra layer was all it took to warm up my core a little bit. I threw some calories on board. But that kind of care between the four of us, you know, Sam and Raptor were hiking down as a team. We were hiking down as a team, and sort of keeping that coordination, that sort of cooperation as a team going. That helped us get down. Again, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have summited on that day at that time, but we knew Sam had to get back to work. We didn't know we had options. We didn't even know what the options might be, other than we were going to have to do, and this is almost a direct quote from the ranger, get back in line to get a day permit to come into the park. He made no mention of any other option, and so that sort of cast the circumstances under which we made our decision to summit. And I'm glad we did. I also, knowing what we know now, might have said, hey, it's worth rolling the dice for another day.
Yeah, we could have easily, knowing what we know now, we know we could have waited a day and still managed to get Sam back to work on time, and we could have had a beautiful summit. We're back at base camp now. We've got a couple of weeks. He's got some meetings. I know we said he's retired, but he still has some meetings to attend. He picked up a little bit of work along the way. Yay! That'll keep us in Mountain House meals for a while. So we're going to be back at base camp for a few weeks, and while we're here, we're going to do a lot of resupply. We're going to let things heal. Obviously, you come through 1,600 miles, and there's some parts of us that are a little bit beat up. We've got some bruises that we'd like to see heal up. Our knees are wrecked from that descent.
My feet hurt. For the first time in 1,200 miles, my feet hurt. And I think
Yeah.
that's just because I'm not walking on them every day.
That's strange.
They're doing whatever they do. They swell, they contract, they ache. But we'll take a couple of weeks and
Yeah.
we'll let all the kinks get worked out. We are going to do some gear changes. We're still kind of noodling our way through what that looks like.
Yeah, because this next part will be probably 5 or 6 weeks long. We can play with things a little bit, and we can have different items sent to us pretty rapidly. We might try some things just for fun. This will be a fun section, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to curse it, but I think it's going to be a fun section. We've done all of it before. We know what to expect. This time we're going to try some different campsites that we didn't try last time. We're going to try not to cycle back into the same places we stayed unless we really, really like them. Hello, Daleville.
Yeah.
We're coming back to Daleville.
The Three Little Pigs.
Another part of our recovery in the next couple of weeks will be to get some calories on board, and we've already started by eating ice cream. We might have had a few adult beverages with dinner.
Yeah, some of you have asked. I think I've lost 38 pounds. And that's a little more than I had hoped to and expected to. So I don't mind putting on a few pounds.
I don't have any clothes that fit. I think I've lost nearly 20 pounds. In the meantime, I'm going to suggest if watching us every morning with your coffee has become a ritual, maybe you want to watch our Camino series, because we put up a couple dozen episodes of walking the Camino de Santiago, if you haven't already seen it. If you've already seen that, you're looking for something else, I would say Chica and Sunsets have been on the Colorado Trail now for several weeks. So that would be another good thing to fill in that time. We will be heading to Damascus in a few weeks, and I anticipate our episodes will start resuming on about September 18th. I can't promise that, but what I can promise is if you go into YouTube and you click on the notification bell, then as soon as we get episodes up, you'll find out. And we might do an episode Q&A at some point in the next couple of weeks. We might also talk about some of our gear changes.
So stay tuned. We will be back. We have about 592 miles to go. Most of that in Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland. And so there's about 6 weeks more of content coming along the way somewhere.
Yep. And we're looking forward to being back on the trail. It seems so strange to be in a room at night. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking I'm back in the tent. It's funny. And I kind of look around.
Tent?
Yeah, look around and like, oh, right. I'm not on the trail. I do miss aspects of it, and again, there's some aspects I don't miss. Like, it's nice to have a bathroom in the morning. A real bathroom.
A shower.
Yeah.
A washing machine when you need one.
Yeah, I'm doing laundry right now.
Thanks for joining us.